Stanford, good to have you here.
Nice to be here, Ziad.
My pleasure.
My delight.
So, Stan, with over 40 years of experience, in marketing, operating for profit colleges, universities, what led you to focus on this particular sector?
Ziad, sometimes things just happen and there's really no explanation for it. I was in New York. I had just started an advertising agency for a West Coast company. And I had built the business up to about $12 million within a period of a year. And my boss was one of those guys who was all hands on. He didn't want you to do anything. He would call me at 5 o'clock LA time to see if I was still in the office. He
Oh
would
my
call
God.
me. He would call me in the morning when he got up. Well, one day I just landed the Columbia record account, and I called him to give him the good news. And his answer was, "I don't want their effing business." I said, "What?" He said, "I don't want their business. As a matter of fact, you're fired."
Are you kidding me?
Just like that, he said to me, "You're fired."
Why would he say that? You think?
Because he wanted to be involved in every aspect of the business. He wanted to be there for the presentations. He wanted to take credit for everything.
I see the kind.
So I said, "Okay." Next day, his executive vice president flew in and said, "Give me the keys to the office and the keys to the Mercedes." I went home and didn't do anything for a month, thinking about what I was going to do. One of the accounts I was handling was a group of 12 computer schools. After a month went by, the owner of the school called me up and said, "Stan, where are you?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Exactly what? I'm having a problem with business. Where are you?" I said, "Do you know, Marty, what went on?" He said, "No, what went on?" I said, "Marty, I was fired last month." We said, "What?" I said, "Yeah, I was fired last month by Jack. Won't go into all the reasons." I said, "And I had too much ethical basis not to call you directly because I had worked for him and he paid me and I didn't feel it was proper to call you and tell you." He said, "My business isn't working well. Can you handle my business?" And I said, "Marty, if you give me a piece of your business, Jack is going to fire you." He said, "Sit there." Sat there. Half an hour later, he called me back on the phone. He said, "I want you in my office tomorrow. You're now the owner of a $12 million account." So I started my advertising agency, and my first account was in the school business. While in the school business, working with these 12 schools, I came to feel very responsible for the students. I was really making a difference and seeing the changes in people's lives. And that gave me a real sense of doing something and doing something to help people. But while doing it, I also discovered that the group that I was really working with, these 18 to 24-year-old lower socioeconomic kids, really didn't have a chance in life unless they got a good education and a good technical education. They might not have been, material for a 4-year college, but certainly many of them could work with their hands. They had empathy. They could be mechanics, medical assistants, nursing assistants. And so I got into the business and found that it was also very lucrative, right? To acquire a student, I could acquire a student for less than $1,000, and the revenue from each student was $20,000. And while I was giving this money to the schools because I was their advertising agency, one of my friends that you know pretty well, Mike Lauer, approached me and said, "Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you giving all of this money to somebody else? Why don't you start your own business?" I said, "Mike, I don't have the money." He says, "Well, let me show you how to start a hedge fund." Well, that was the beginning of my working with schools, helping people to develop,
Awesome.
to change their lives, and to make something of
So you
themselves.
loved it. You had the passion. You are empowering their students, inspiring them, making a difference,
Yeah,
and starting to make money.
starting to make a lot of money.
A
Yeah,
lot of money.
yeah.
So, Stan, you work with many colleges, universities. Could you share an aha moment that led for a breakthrough, in one of your initiatives, resulting in real wealth creation?
Yep. I was working at the time with my agency with over 250 colleges, universities, and proprietary schools. And the United States government has a regulation which says that if you don't have a high school diploma, sorry, you're not college material.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, when you start looking at lower socioeconomic groups, about 20% of Spanish, 20% of blacks, and about 17% of white people do not have a high school diploma.
Unbelievable.
When you start looking a little more granularly at this, you find that almost 30% of black men don't have a high school diploma. Women are a little higher. They have like 75 or 80% with a diploma. And the same is true for Spanish. As I was buying leads to fill my schools from various sources, I saw that 40% of the leads that were coming in were from people who didn't have a high school diploma.
Mm-hmm.
So I started to think, what can I do to change this? How can I employ it? How can I get those, I'll call them unfortunate students who dropped out of high school, or whether it was because a woman was pregnant when she was 15, or a man had to go and help support his family. And I found something which most other schools were not doing. It was called a career pathway program.
Mm-hmm.
And this pathway program says that if I take a student who dropped out in their junior year, within 6 weeks, I could get that student a high school diploma. If they came in and I trained them and I did everything digitally, within 6 weeks, they would have a high school diploma.
Amazing.
With students who didn't graduate and dropped out in their senior year, that was 2 weeks. So what I
Wow.
did is I took 40% of all of these leads and I went back to these students and I said, I will put you through high school. I will put you through high school. I will pay for you to get the high school diploma.
Mm-hmm.
The cost was $1,000 to me. The cost to buy the lead and to get a regular student was $900. But I had these 40% that I was throwing away. I got approximately 80% of those 40% of students to come in and take my full
That's
high
awesome.
school diploma course. I then, because of the regulation, after they had completed 80% of their either 4 to 6 week or 2 week course, I could dual enroll them into my colleges. Right? That gave me a tremendous boost in the revenue. Plus, I was dealing with people who really needed help. I have one case, I'll give you a quick story of a woman, a battered woman, had 2 children, thrown out of the house by her husband, and had no high school diploma, dropped out in her junior year. We took her in. We not only paid for the high school diploma, we also got her a place to live. Right? We then put her through our school, and within a period of 18 months, she became a nursing assistant, was able to support her family and her 2 kids, and the kids were just so an admiration of their mother that it just brings tears to my eyes to
That's
think
remarkable.
here was a woman who couldn't even come in and was afraid, and now she was independent and able to live on her own.
That's making a difference in people's lives.
I like to change people's lives.
It is beautiful. It's
Uh,
noble. It's empowering. It's remarkable.
yeah. We work together, Ziad, and you know that I say many times when people say, "What do you do? What do you work at?" And I say, "I don't work." And I said, "What do you mean you don't work?" I work all the time, but I never call it work. Why? Because when you
You love it,
love what you do, it's not working.
of
I
course,
do it all the time.
of course.
No,
When people ask me, when are you going to retire? I'm never going to retire because I love what I'm doing. Retire and do what? Play golf all day long? So
I,
it's the passion, it's the love, it's the
I
way,
think we are retired. When you retire to do something, hopefully that you love doing,
which is exactly what we're doing at the Financial Policy Council.
and we love it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Your contributions, Stan, to diverse fields, such as publishing, media, academia, have been widely recognized. You've been doing this for maybe 40, 50 years. How do you see these fields evolving in light of the advances of AI and challenging marketing and PR influences?
When the atomic bomb was exploded, Oppenheimer went to the president, Truman, I believe, at the time,
Yeah,
and said effectively, we have unleashed death. AI is the unleashing of death. AI,
I tend to agree with you.
AI gives individuals power. It takes power away from the publishers, allows people to independently publish their stuff. It allows marketers to do more in depth research as to the statistics and the analytics of the business, which was almost impossible to do. It puts power in people's hands. But what it also does is it puts power in the hands of bad people.
Yep.
I never worry that a teacher in a school or a student or a business person is going to abuse this because most of them use it for beneficial purposes.
True.
There are a lot of bad people out there. As you know, my story going back 3 months ago, someone used AI to hack my computer,
Yep.
went in and sent money from my bank account, from my computer to theirs, which was untraceable. As AI becomes stronger and stronger and stronger, and it will, we're in for a lot of trouble. It'll be where the creator has created something that's just chopped off his arm. So there is no way to control it at this point. And I don't see, AI turning into anything but the dread of society.
Unfortunately, yeah, AI has a lot of good uses, medical and others, but when you use it for foreign policy or to combat terrorism or stuff like that, it becomes very dicey.
Well,
Very
not
dicey.
only dicey is they are, but in this past week, I've seen some ways that AI has been used where I can sit here and take this video when we're completed, go back to my house and create an AI model of you because I also have your voice because you've been in a lot of podcasts and a lot of videos. I can take your voice and I can put you on a video camera talking to somebody else, telling him, "Hi, it's Ziad. Please send me $10,000." Right? And no one will know it's not you. And this is very scary.
This is super scary. Don't do it, please. So, Stan, you're serving as the vice president and treasurer of the Financial Policy Council. What motivated you really to join this organization? How do your personal beliefs aligns with the mission of the council?
The Financial Policy Council is by far the best organization I have ever come across that does what it says it's going to do and allows people to become involved in. I work with a group of people who are all entrepreneurial as opposed to a traditional a group where we're dealing with academics, where we're dealing with people who come out of government. I have in this group, we have 35 boots on the ground entrepreneurs who talk from experience, who are all patriotic, who want to see America return to the values of our founding fathers, who want our children to be brought up and have freedom, who don't want a government controlling them and telling them what to do. The Financial Policy Council is at the forefront. Um, and
Right on the money. Right
and
on the money.
inspired by its founder, who I'm very privileged to be sitting across the table from right now, who inspired me listening to what he had to say. At first, I thought, who is this guy? Right? Look at the way he talks out and speaks out. He's going to get slaughtered by government. Right? But I found that in working with you, that you deal with facts and figures, and there's no bullshit. This isn't about politics. This is about hard, cold facts and figures. What's happening to America and what's happening to America is horrible. And if I stand back and do nothing, then I'm responsible for what goes on in America. And I don't want to see my children and my grandchildren suffer because of bad government. And we've got bad government.
Thank you so much, Stan. Really appreciate. Uh, what would you say to listeners who might be interested in joining the Financial Policy Council, you know, and getting involved?
There are a lot of ways you can get involved in the Financial Policy Council. The first thing I would suggest that you do is learn about us. Read our blogs. All of our blogs are written by very knowledgeable businessmen and women and are about the issues in society and the ways that you can make money by taking advantage of the solutions to the problems. Additionally, in working with this group, I find that there are a lot of deals that go on
Yep.
because of the close camaraderie that we have, all working toward the same patriotic types of goals. We work together and make a lot of business deals together.
Absolutely. It's like a family, a core with same core values.
If you're interested in making money and you're a business person, whether you're a business person who runs $1 million or a $2 million business, or someone who runs an 800 to $1 billion business, you'll find that you can be talking to that billionaire in the FPC, and he'll be more than glad to help you, spend time with you, and mentor you. The FPC also works with younger people. We look to mentor people. We look to work with college students to teach them about being entrepreneurs, about changing their lives, about the values that Americans should have, about what our founding fathers stood for. And they can look to us not as what we say, but look to us for what we do. The Financial Policy Council is about doers. If you're one of those people who are wishy-washy and you want to, just tag along, don't even think about coming in to see us because you're going to get kicked out on your ass. Right? We want doers. We want people who are passionate about changing America, people who are also passionate about making money. So let's not be confused here. We're about making money. Right? This is what the Financial Policy Council group does. But
Thank you so much.
using that money to change America, to change the values that other people have, and not to tell people you're wrong, but to show them with facts, figures, statistics, right, and exactly what's going on in this country. Hopefully, they'll want to change because what's going on, we're not going to have a country in 10 years. I also want to say something about our founder, right? And for all of those who want to come to the Financial Policy Council, you have the opportunity to be in with one of the top 50 financial geniuses in the world, someone that you can sit down and talk to. And if you're willing to put out the effort, if you're willing to do the work, he's going to call you brother. You can't go anywhere else and have that kind of contact with top level people in the world of finance. This man is trained by Michael Millikan and is a genius when it comes to finance. And if you want to get ahead in this business, if you want to make your fortune, come join us at the Financial Policy Council.
Thank you so much, Stan. It's been a pleasure having you.
It's been a pleasure working
Absolute
with you,
pleasure.
Zaya.
Thank
Many
you.
more years, please.
Thank you, my friend.
My pleasure.